Welcome to the end game. I wanted to take a few moments just to talk about a couple of my favorite channels. IAG Farms, and as of recently, the Resurrection Ranch. And I've been following IAG Farms for about a year now. Like I said, one of my favorite channels. And so I'm here because I really want to represent Team Tim. Okay. I've watched some of the other platforms that have popped up. I watched Bizarro. I watched was it Cam and Ash? And Bizarro, you're a funny dude. I know it's just entertainment. Cam and Ash, very specific. I like the fact that your material is grounded, is biblically based. And I like that you guys present viewpoints from perspective of a husband and a wife that are also in the church. And so I love the IAG Farms. I do like the Resurrection Ranch, but I enjoy Bizarro and I enjoy the Cam and Ash. But let me just say this. Some of the feedback that has come back from those channels, some of it has been positive, some of it has been negative. But considering that I'm Team Tim, I'm not just going to sit here and let you guys bash Tim like that. Okay, I'm not going to sit around and let you guys drag Uncle Tim the way that I see some people dragging him. Okay, so that's what's not going to happen. So I'm here to represent and to support from a perspective of Team Tim. But now on the flip side, I'm also Team Mom. And when I talk about Team Mom, I mean Megan as a mother. And of course, I mean Lily as a mother. So I'm supporting Team Tim. I'm going to support Team Mom as well. We'll discuss some things that pop up in the video. You guys can put your commentary below, but I want to come from both perspectives and really cover things from both ends. All right. So they recently put out a video where Tim had the gentleman over to IAG Farms to measure or give him a quote. The guy was giving him a quote to put a deck or a porch, as he called it, onto Emma. And I think the video started out with Tim coming back to IAG Farms. Because he had volunteered to go over to the Resurrection Ranch to supervise the gentleman that was actually installing the flooring in Mama's double wide. And so Team Tim says that's a great son for you. For Tim to volunteer his time to go over and supervise the installation of that flooring so that Mom wouldn't have to be stressed about it, so that Mom wouldn't have to worry about supervision. For Tim to volunteer to go over there, that's a good son. So that's from a Team Tim perspective. In the previous video where they were doing the first half of the floor, what you noticed was Tim had some great shots, excellent shots in that video. The reason why he had the great shots is because he followed the gentleman around everywhere that he went.
Probably on the job site you pull up at when somebody's standing there waiting with a camera. Good to see you, bro.
angles that I saw and the proximity I saw, Tim had to be pretty close to being over the guy's shoulder. When the guy walked a little bit faster, Tim walked a little bit faster. He wasn't going to miss any of those great shots. And he did that for our benefit. Team Tim. Now, considering that Tim is a very wise individual, which he's reminded us of that, he's only going to hire competent people. Now, Tim has said that he fires people. But in order to get hired by him, you have to have a certain amount of competence. But Tim fires people. Now, if you look at that video where he's following the gentleman around while he's working on the floor, you might understand why some people get fired. Because I imagine that some people would not want him hawking them, considering that they're competent professionals. And that's really what they do for their job. Usually they're not like multifaceted handymen that do a little bit of everything, like Tim does. He does a little bit of everything. These guys are professionals. They have specialties. They've been trained to do certain things. They're competent. And so I imagine that if Tim gets a little bit too close to the action, if he gets a little bit overbearing in trying to tell the person how to do their job that he hired them to do because they were competent, I imagine that some of those people might not respond well. So I can understand why in some cases Tim may have to hire someone. And like Tim has indicated on some of his videos, there's only certain people that can work with him. And if you're not willing to work with him, aka tolerate him, then he's going to dispense of you. Now, as far as the deck build or the porch build, so Tim, he promises that it's going to be the biggest, baddest deck ever. First he said it was going to be the biggest that was attached to a mobile home, which I thought, oh, okay, that's impressive. But then he went a little bit further and said it's going to be the biggest and baddest ever. I said, all right, Tim, do your thing, Tim. And he indicated that he wanted it to be large because they want to be able to put like a dining room table out there. They want to put some chairs out there. They want to be able to relax, entertain themselves, possibly entertain company out there on this deck. I think that's great. I mean, considering that there's not a lot of space on the interior, Tim's going to add on some extra space to the exterior. You see the gentleman that actually installed the flooring at the Resurrection Ranch is actually the same gentleman that I guess is giving him the quote for the deck. Now, mind you, the gentleman showed Tim photos. And based upon the photos of the jobs that this guy has worked on before, or the guy and his team has worked on before, and he said some of the future jobs that he has planned, Tim said, okay, this is a competent individual to come over and give me a quote. Now, interestingly enough, while the guy's out there working on the quote, Tim has him do a couple of extra things. And I assume that's because the guy worked for Tim with the floor installation, and therefore Tim assumes that the guy is still working for him. He's still on the clock, even when it comes to IAG Farms. All right, Tim, way to maximize with your workers. Now, also, while the guy was drawing up his sketch, running the numbers, taking measurements for this new deck, he indicated to Tim that based on his experience, based on the gentleman's experience, that they were going to put some type of header, attach some type of header to the base of the mobile home, and the deck would be tied into that header. Now, Tim, considering that Tim has expertise in various things, Tim said, well, no, I don't want you just to attach it to the mobile home because I don't want it to drag the mobile home down. Some people might say that wouldn't happen. Mechanically, it wouldn't drag the mobile home down. But Tim said, no, don't just attach it with headers. I want you to put some extra posts on up against the deck, up against the house, I should say. And so that was wise Tim, expert Tim, tossing in his 2 cents. And of course, the guy providing the quote, he's going to accept it. He's going to add it on to the materials. He's going to add it on to the labor costs. No big deal. And Tim hinted at the fact that at some point he might actually turn that deck into part of a double wide. All right, so let's look at the flip side of this. So let's look at things from Team Mom. So first part, I gave you things from Team Tim's perspective as far as me being a supporter of Tim. Now let me toss out a few things, different perspective from being on Team Mom, and that includes Megan and Grandma Lily. If the flooring is being installed into Mama's house, Mama probably should be there to supervise. And supervision from her perspective might be different than from your perspective, Tim. But if it's her house, it really should be done her way. If it's her house. If it's not her house, Tim, if it's your house, then I can understand that you want to be there to do certain things. Now, if Mama can't be relied upon to run that camera and to grab the footage of the floor being installed that you want to be captured, then Tim, I understand that you would have to go there and supervise work being installed. But I just thought it was kind of odd that after the floor was installed, you had to say, hey, Mama, you got to see your brand new floor, Mama. You're going to love it. A little bit weird, because generally speaking, the homeowner is the first person that sees, aside from the contract, they're the first person that sees the finished product. But in this case, Tim was the first to see it. And then he promised Mama that she was going to love it. And she said, well, I guess I'll look forward to it. Something to that effect. So that was a little bit different. From a Team Mom perspective, I think Mama should have been there. Now, when Tim does get back, we notice that Mama's sitting on the stairs with the boys. That looked a little bit odd. I'm not sure if it was staged. But from a Team Mom perspective, I really don't think Mom should be told where to be when Tim pulls up. If she's over there babysitting, enjoying her grandkids, when he pulls up, they should be out there throwing around the football or playing chase, or maybe she's into the house and maybe she's putting together snacks for them. Any number of things. Maybe they're over there piddling, messing with the pigs or the goats or what have you. But for them to be actually staged on the stairs.
Got Grandma sitting down here, sitting with the boys. She was sitting with the boys while we were doing flooring down on Grace. I know that flooring looks good down there too. I can't wait for you to see it.
Okay. Yeah. I can't wait to see it either.
Yeah.
And you said God to come down here and sit us.
Yep.
They want to know what sitting is supposed to mean.
Sitting with y'all to make sure y'all don't do nothing crazy.
I told them I'm gonna sit and watch them.
That's right.
Neatly lined and neatly seated. I thought that was a little bit odd from a Mama's perspective. And this one look on Mom's face kind of says it all.
So I can't wait for you to see it.
Okay. Yeah. I can't wait to see it either.
Yeah.
And you said
Their looks also say a little bit about what's going on here. All right, that's it. From perspective of Team Tim and Team Mom. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. All right. While you're at, please like. While you're doing those comments, please subscribe. And let's talk about this more. I mean, a large part of the internet is educational. Part of it is also entertainment. So let's chop it up a little bit. Unfortunately, Tim turned off the comments, but a lot of you guys that are supporters, you want a place to comment. You want a place to give your view. You want a place to dialogue. And so I offer that. Shout out to Cam and Ash. Shout out to Bizarro. I'm just yet another opportunity for those folks that are fans of IAG and fans of the Resurrection Ranch. Till next time.